All right, we're live, Sandy. Hi, everyone. It's Friday, New Moon Friday. For our fabulous Friday, New Moon Friday, new beginnings, right?
New beginnings, and in Vedic astrology, the new moon is in Gemini. Western astrology, it's in Cancer. So if you follow the Vedic astrology, this is all about speaking up, speaking your truth, trusting that you're going to be able to find your way where you're going. It's new beginnings, new light that is coming in, new energies that are coming in. So there's a lot of positives going on right now. And it's interesting because what we're going to talk about today is the manipulation. So the bifurcation is all around.
Well, and that makes me think of the Gemini because it's two people, right? It's the twins.
That's why they can never, they can be difficult to be around because they can never make up their mind because they can argue both sides of their own argument. It's like, let me know when you're done. You know what I mean? It can be difficult to be around sometimes, right?
Yep. Hello, Teresa.
Hi, Teresa. So it's going to be, and we're in for an interesting month on a few different fronts, I think. And when we look at, so we know July is going to be tumultuous in some ways. We know that we're in panic mode, and we know with the buildings coming down in Florida that was controlled, and many people are under the impression it was basically an implied threat to a certain person. If you come back, we're going to start taking out people. You know, so there's some things around that, but we have to go. Do we stop just because we're being threatened, or do we keep going? In my opinion, we keep going. And I think that's where we're at right now, making the decision of where we're going to be. And interesting. So we're talking about manipulations today. One thing that has come up this last week is many of us have been manipulated by people. And it's kind of interesting because it's not a direct manipulation. It's somebody getting somebody else to say something to the person. And then you're thinking, why is this person saying this? And you're thinking it's their own thoughts. Meanwhile, it's somebody else planning the thought in their head. You're not good enough, you're crazy, whatever it is, right? You're controlling, whatever you're doing. And you stop and you think, why is this person saying this to me? And you realize it's not them. Always look for, okay, can I start with a tip?
Sure.
Look for a common denominator. When you know there's bullshit circulating around your life, or you can feel that you're a targeted individual or you're being gaslit, the people who are gaslighting you and saying things to you, look at all the people they have in common that you have in common. And I guarantee you it's one of those people who's behind the manipulation.
Yep.
So these people aren't smart. They're clever, but they're not intelligent. But you basically can narrow it down to one, sometimes two people. And often you're lucky enough you can nail it down to one person. But I just had this happen recently. Somebody said something to me and I'm like, who are you talking to? Why would you say that to me? You've never talked to me like that before. And it took me a day or two to wonder, do I have to cull this person out of my life too? And then I realized that wasn't your voice. You've never said that to me before. And then I figured out who was behind it. And it's like, well, that makes sense. Even when you try to stay out of the line of fire, these psychopaths, these sociopaths will come out of their way to go and hunt you down and find a way to make your life miserable, just to let them know they're still in control.
Yeah. Right? And, you know, I like that you use the term gaslighting, because basically gaslighting is manipulation.
Yeah,
it is one form of manipulation, and we can see it everywhere. Manipulated by media, by even like I said before, even some of the truthers are manipulating information, and then you've got family, friends, and coworkers, and you name it. We're
government bodies, people,
government bodies, the education
stores. Education, they're all manipulated right now.
They're all manipulated and manipulating us right now. And so how do we get through this? And that's what we want, because it's amped up at the moment with this. The energy of July is I don't know about you guys, but I can feel it today. And you know, when I got on here just a couple minutes before we hit live, I told Sandy, I'm like, wow, you know, it's like this up and down energy. And it's, after this, I'm telling you, I'm going out back and lying down in the wet grass. I don't care because it was raining. I need this grounding. I really feel like I need the grounding right now, because the energies are just like wild.
And I believe some solar energy came in yesterday or the day before, which is also impacting us. So for the, and I'm not going to imply anybody is anywhere, because we all go through different things at different times. But the idea is if you've cleared things out, you're probably going to sail through this period. If there's something left to clear, it might trip you up a little bit. But what I'm finding, even when you're going through and you're realizing, okay, I just got manipulated, or somebody attempted to manipulate me, I see this, you kind of drop a little bit, and then you work through it faster because you've been through it enough times and you know how to pick yourself up. So that is fantastic that you're talking about grounding, because that is definitely one of the methods. Just connect with earth, connect cosmic energies and earth energies. So you're like as above, so below. You're above the earth, but you're also below the cosmos. So it's all just, you're connected to everything. The other one is essential oils. If you're not feeling grounded, use something like a Valor or like a pine or a Idaho spruce, or not spruce, I think it's a fir, or like something that's got a low frequency to it. So you think of the roots of the trees, they're in the ground. Use an oil that has a low frequency. If you want to be picked up, use something that has a higher frequency, like a joy, rose, ylang ylang. Like everybody has their favorites, right? Some people are big on the citrus essential oils like lime, lemon, orange, because they can pick you up too, because they're stimulants. And I'm not saying turn to a substance or something to get you where you need to be, but some of these things are just, if you've got them in your toolkit, why not use them?
Sometimes just grab, your favorite crystal, a good grounding crystal, and stick
Totally.
it in your pocket. Keep it close to you all of these. And I think the whole month is going to be a little insane.
Yeah.
It really will. And the funny thing is so y'all know, and I want to say hi to Lori and Dave. They just joined. And I was shuffling before we came on. Sandy and I were chatting, and I was like, okay, what my thought was when I first grabbed them, I'm like, okay, what do we need to share today? And so these 3 cards actually fell, and I'm using my Moonology because I love these. They're my newest cards. That's the box. Boo, boo, boo. Such great messages. I love these. Anyways, so the first one I picked up was believe in the impossible.
Yes.
And I think that's where we've all been. We've been believing what seems impossible to many, but it's not. It's like it's not impossible.
It's
but
not
we also need to create a balance between our spirituality and the practicality of life, right? And so it is a balancing system of our beliefs and being able to still function in this world and doing that properly. That's why you see people who can't balance it and then completely like turn off the truth to function. But we've got to learn to balance those two worlds.
There's a lot of ways to balance, or there's a lot of ways to look at the imbalances. I know some people I work with and people I know who are so 5D, they're so in the spiritual realm, they can't function. They can't get their feet on the ground to function. So they see what's going on, but they can't lower themselves and steady themselves enough to hold down, I'm not going to say a job, but some way to form to create income for themselves or to sustain themselves. So it doesn't matter if the balance is you can't see the truth, or your balance is you see too much of the truth and can't handle just faking it in the real world. Like there's different ways that can affect you.
Absolutely.
So it's not one or the other.
It's creating that balance, and it doesn't mean buying into the 3D world. It's being able to function in it.
And we still have to do that.
Being true to who you are.
Yes.
And that's the key. And then this was the last card, which gets me very excited. And it says, conclusions are within reach.
Totally. So what
almost, and I do feel like we're almost there. I think that's why this, it feels so weird right now. I mean, I don't know how many times have I said on a show, it's like, oh, the energies are so weird, but it's like, it's amping up and amping up and amping up. It gives you a little bit of a release. And then it's like, all right, we're coming back. We're coming back. And the manipulation is off the freaking charts right now.
And you know what, when you do battle, so, I'm not going to explain how I know this, but when you do battle, it's not that you, if you're going to charge a castle, let's say you're going to charge a castle and you're going to charge the drawbridge that's up, or the drawbridge is down and the doors are closed, you're going to come with the first row and you're going to push and you're going to see how far you get. And then you're going to back up and you're going to regroup. And then you're going to come and you're going to push again. And you're going to find the wall starts to shake a little more because now more pressure's been applied. Then you come back and regroup again. And then you push the third time with all your momentum. So we are doing the back and forth because something is announced. Then maybe the people who don't want change will come back and drop some buildings in Florida. Now, supposedly they're kicking people out of other condos and they're going to tear those buildings down. Like, Who knows? Who knows what's going on? So then we watch that little game, and then something else happens. And then the good team pushes back again, and then you watch. But we almost need to see how far they're going to go and what they're going to do, so we know the extent of, one, what they're capable of, and two, how to stop it, how to stand up and just say no to it. So I'm not going to say who this is, but there supposedly was a hurricane that was to hit the Florida. I don't know if it's hit already, and people are talking about moving it with their psychic energy and moving it offshore. Why not? Some of us can part clouds. Some of us can bring out the sun. So it's not that we can't use our psychic abilities, but the idea is, while we're watching all this unfold, we continue on our growth pattern. And that's what that last card is all about, right? Is can you say it again? What was the first word on that?
Conclusions.
Conclusions. So we're going to draw our own conclusions that, one, we're not buying this. Two, we're more powerful. They don't want us bringing these abilities on. Three, we can out vibrate them. And some of that is through our heart energy, and some of it is just through awareness, that when you're aware, you get closer to that enlightenment stage, that knowledge is power. So while all this is going on, the question's always going to be, what do we do? What can we do for ourselves? Yeah. And these are just some of the ideas that, that we want to share a bit today.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually, right now, because a lot of us, we're not in the true battle. We're in a very different sort of war. We really are. And I liken it to, the walls of Jericho coming down. We are actually marching, sharing the light, going around and around and around. How many times do we need to go around till we see the walls fall?
There you go.
Us holding that light, holding this intention of this better world that we're coming into, as we continue to maybe not physically march, but we are spiritually marching around the walls of Jericho. And we are seeing parts of that wall starting to crumble.
And when we know, and I agree that totally that's what we're seeing. And when we know what tools to use. So I'm going to use an example. This week, I can't remember. Some things were just irritating me. So I thought, I'm going to go for a walk. And where I go, there's no hydro, so I don't have any EMF interference. And it was about to rain, so I had my umbrella with me. And fortunately, there's nobody on the path but me. And I started doing my tapping routine. And I'm like, not this, right? Can't believe this is happening. And then I realized what was coming up was persecution trauma. Because we're all being persecuted for telling the truth. We're being persecuted for trying to do the right thing. So there's so much more going into how we feel and how we respond to these manipulations that are happening. And as I'm tapping through persecution trauma, I can't believe this. And I'm like, oh man, not this again. And as you had said the one time, it could be past lives. Oh, here we go again. This isn't my first rodeo. I've done this again. And you tap it through. But by the time you get like halfway through your path, you're back down, like you're grounded again. You're enjoying the walk. The issue's gone. You can characterize and put it where it belongs, but you didn't ignore it. You don't ignore your feelings. It's really important you feel them, the feelings that make you happy or sad. You feel it and you process through it. But we've got the tools now to do that even faster.
Yes. And the energy is actually allowing us to do it faster.
Yes.
Because we need to get to where we're going. We have a destination. And even time, hasn't it felt like it's completely sped up?
Oh, totally. We're already more than a quarter of the way, almost a third of the way through the month. It's like, what? I know. Canada Day just happened.
We're more than halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, wow, where did this year go? Where did last year go? And it just feels like, when you think about, I think about what I get done in a day. Like, I used to be able to get so much more done. And it's like time is condensed. And like, I'm still working all day. And like, how come I'm not getting it all?
I know.
Because it's like, it's all moving so fast. It's moving so fast.
And that's going to be part of the switch, I think, that happens, that we're going to speed up even further. And all of a sudden you're going to find you're in a different place.
Yeah. Well, it's our vibration. It's like, our vibration is rising. The Earth's vibration is rising. So that makes it faster. And you know what? And on the bright side, the fact that this is happening faster. It means all of the stuff we have to go through, because it's going to get pretty scary. I do believe, like, when the walls fall, there's going to be rubble everywhere, right? And
it's not just that, though. There's going to be, the transition as we start moving into different dimensions. And I think I was telling you, I was watching Linda Good McGillis, I think her name is, and she's saying that you're going to be speaking with somebody, and one of you is just going to disappear. So I'm not sure if that means the veil's going to thin, or people are going to go behind a veil or into a vortex. And Betty, you had said something about the Bible, what it had said.
Yeah, actually, the same day I was at my mom's, and she had said that, and I don't know where this is because, guys, I'm no scholar in the Bible. I know it, but I don't know where anything is. But it was that Jesus had said that you two will be working in the field, and you'll know the end. We're in the end when I think something along those lines. This was a few days ago. She told me lots have been through this brain since then. But basically, two will work in the field and one will just disappear. That's how you know the end is, you're in the end. And also, I think in the same thing, he says, when it comes, it will hit so fast that if you are wherever you are, you just stand still. Like, if you're on a roof, don't go trying to run down. It's just stay wherever you are. And I know that's totally paraphrased, but that's the gist of the message. The gist of the message. And I've said many times, you guys all know, I mean, I think there's some gems. They didn't get to screw up everything in the Bible, just most of it. But when it comes to
there are some truths in there.
There are some truths in there for sure. 100%. And it's having discernment, which, I know that you wanted to touch on today, discernment in what feels like, oh, there could be some truth in this part of it or in this piece. Because we don't know how much was taken and how much was changed. We don't. We know it was a lot, because if you actually look at how many times it's been edited, this is a freaking long list.
20,000.
Yeah, it's thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
So
what are we going to do in the meantime, right? So this is what I'm sensing. I'm sensing two things coming in, right? We know there's going to be chaos, but some of us have been practicing for this. We're ready for this. We know when we or other people go through a bit of a funk, how do we get from funk to fabulous? And it's okay to go through the funks, because sometimes it's not yours. You have to ask, is this me? Is it somebody else? Is it projected? Is it AI? It doesn't matter. But if you're in it, it's okay. But how do we get through this, right? And one for me is always be curious. And even though sometimes you go through a bit of a funk, I can't wait to see what the truth is. I want to know what the truth is. I'm excited to hear what the truth is. Yes. And if I'm on a roof, I'm going to stay there.
If you're on a roof, you're anywhere, just don't move when it hits. Because the funny thing is I do believe in the Bible, Jesus also said, like, when the time comes, it will be so swift. And actually, Donald Trump said that too, that he'll, what was it? There was a quote, I think it was tweet he had put out, or maybe it was, I don't know, but that when they hit, it'll be so swift, they won't know what hit them.
Yeah.
And I remember when I read that, I was like, okay, it actually says that in the Bible for the end times. Like, it's going to it'll be like a day like any other.
Yes.
And boom.
Interesting. So how can we help ourselves through this change? One, be curious and want to know the truth. Put it out there that you want to know the truth, that you're willing to see the truth. You're willing to experience the truth. You're willing to understand the truth. Because I think for the most people who are actually committed to doing the right thing, and they know what right living is, and they know how to make decisions that aren't going to cause another person harm, we're going to get through this. That's my opinion. If we don't, so I'm wrong. You know what? Like, it doesn't matter. I just, either way, I feel like I'm going to be okay, regardless of what happens, right? But be curious as to what the truth is, because I have a feeling we're going to go, oh man, I knew that. whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I think we'll know a lot. I think there will be some news.
Totally.
There'll be some new things, but the fact that we've been on this journey for a while, we've been digging for the truth. We've seen and heard enough of the ugly truth. There's probably more, but
there's more. I'm positive there's going to be more, and it's going to be to the point that the medical community, we've lost total faith in them. So part of bringing in the new is no longer believing in a dysfunctional world. So if people are to the point they don't believe in the medical system, they're going to have no choice but to bring in the new energy modalities or energy medicines or energy, whether it's ultraviolet light, like whatever it is. They're going to have no choice but to bring stuff in, because we're not going to accept anything less. And so many people are looking for ways to chelate and get rid of the heavy metals in their body. They're already looking at different ways to do that and realizing that we have to have our pH level has to be balanced so that we're not going into an acidic, type of body, which can bring on illness. You want to keep oxygen in your body, keep it balanced that way. So people are looking for their own wellness modalities. So it's not even that they're looking to heal. They're looking just to stay well.
Yeah.
Which is going to put them out of business.
And I think a big part of that, as we go through this grounding, is going to be critically important. It's actually, I believe it or not, over the years, I was like, oh, whatever, grounding. I have never felt such a pull to the ground as I have in especially the last, I would say 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, but you're really waking up in the last little while too, right? So that's the good news.
8 months, it was like, because I don't know, there's been like this huge push for ground. Like I look out, I yearning look out my window and go, oh, I want to be in that. Is it just something about feeling? I think it's the energies that are coming in, and that there is chaos coming. There is some chaos coming, and being grounded, you can actually, like, the storm can pass through you and not.
If you don't clench your energy, just let it just flow through you. You know, it's interesting. There's no right or wrong to this. I know people who've been doing this for 30 years, and I think, thank God I'm not you, because I would have lost my mind doing this for 30 years. It's enough that I've been doing it for 9. But I know people who've just recently come on, and they're really, like, they're fast tracking on the knowledge. It doesn't mean that it's easier for them or better for them, but it's almost harder because they're getting hit with so much faster. But the people who've been through it for a while, they've learned how to do the techniques, whether it's crystals, oils, grounding, whatever it is, right? Singing bowls, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Salt baths, they can give so much more information about how to stay grounded, or how to calm yourself back down, or how to release a trapped emotion, or whatever it is, right? So there's no right or wrong to it. There's no heroes anywhere in it or anything like that. But you guys have it harder. I'm glad I wasn't the 30-year. I'm glad I'm not the newbie figuring this out, because I would have been a wreck if I learned all this in 1 year.
Yeah, it's because you had time to process, and the processing time went from whoa to boom. You got no time. Get it. Because more shit's coming.
And I could expand my knowledge too, because I could look at astrotheology. I could look at astrology. I could look at assertiveness coaching, life coaching. I could go and get my, like the certificates in these areas and learn more about the natural way as well. Right. So there's some benefits to the time frame it took me to go through it. But I remember watching Santos Bonacci, the, Truth School, Universal Truth School. And I was watching him, and I look at the clock, and I haven't at some place I have to be that day. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can go and be normal for a few hours. Sure enough, I went, did my routine, came back, and it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I'm back on the computer listening to Santos Bonacci. But I learned so much about the astrotheology that all religions are based on. So it's very, the information's there if we want it to, right? So once this is disclosed, it's not over. This is just the beginning as we learn to ask for more of what we want to see, more truth and things like that. So,
yeah. And the truth isn't going to be pretty. And I think we all know that. But it's better to know the truth than to continue to live the lies.
Yeah.
Because the lies seemed pretty before, but the lies are pretty ugly right now. So may as well look at the ugly truth instead of living this actually dystopian lie.
Yeah. There's a movie that just came out, something about the old world. I can't remember exactly what it's called, the history of the lost world. And it was talking about the 1800s where they had, and I've heard this before, but they would have things like entertainment communities where they would have the Ferris wheels, but they were using the real energy that was coming from the cosmos. And they were using the crosses on the churches and different crosses on top of, they looked like very ornate, wrought iron, but maybe it was like a widow's peak of a house, or there was a dome and a buildings. But this is what was bringing energy down. So what have they done? Taken all that away from us and given us fucking hydro? Do you know what I mean? Pardon my French. Yeah. But this is what they've done. So then when we start realizing, even on this level, all of this is just so they can take our resources called capital, called income, so that we can spend all our money. So basically it's like we're all slaves, and then we're allowed to live in the shacks, if you want to call them that they give us, kind of thing, or whatever they give the slaves. But then you have to turn around and pay to have room and board and have somebody do your laundry, and you have to pay for your food. So basically you're working for free, or next to nothing, right? So that's that's part of the reason why it needs to change.
Yeah. Well, it's been a rat race. Isn't that what they call it? A rat race?
Yeah, for a reason.
It's actually, we're just rats on a wheel. We just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And then you do it over and over again. You think it's normal. And that's what your parents did and your grandparents did. And that's what life is, but it's not. And that's what we're starting to realize, that manipulation of what life is supposed to be. It is. It's actually been a huge manipulation. And who we are has been it. We've been manipulated to think that we're so small and we're not powerful. But we are powerful. We're crazy powerful. And they don't want us to find that out. And that's been, again, another manipulation through, but generational. It's generation after generation after generation. So you think that's just what it is. And that's who we are.
It's interesting watching the history, the movie that was like 5 hours long, because it would show different architecture. You look at the architecture of what we have now compared to what we had. It was absolutely magnificent. There's no way human beings could have put the pyramids together, or some of these massive buildings, or even saying the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. There's no way that people just started coming into Canada. They thought in the 1800s that they were really starting to gather. There's no way they would have the resources or the skills to build something like the Parliament building. So sometimes these documentaries that are coming out, I think they're planted at the right time as well, so that we can look at it and say, yeah, that makes more sense than... Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we've got cranes now and backhoes, and this is how we do it, right?
Yeah, and nothing looks even remotely as
ornate
beautiful.
And beautiful.
Aesthetically pleasing. Like, I mean, I look at some new houses, and it's like a house that looks like an office building. Like, where's
there's no style.
It's the ultra modern. I'm like, you know what? You can keep your freaking ultra modern. I want something that actually feels warm and inviting, not a concrete slab to live in. And it's funny how, again, that is this whole ultra modern thing, such a manipulation. I remember walking through somebody's house, an open house, and it was all like that sleek. There was like, how would you live in this? Like, there's no warmth, there's no charm.
And some people do like that, right?
I know, but it's like, but as humans, we actually do want the warmth. We do. They're telling us that's what you should like.
Right. Because it's not it's not aesthetically pleasing to us, and it doesn't invoke feelings of beauty. And that's what they don't want. Look at all the shutdown, all the warm and fuzzy, all the creative endeavors. Those are the kind of businesses that were closed or considered non-essential, right? So when we're talking about the architecture, again, going back to this movie, they said when they built the foundations, they used to put quartz crystal in with the cement, because now the way it's set up, the cement is an insulator when it's supposed to be a conductor, that we're supposed to connect through our homes to the earth energies. I'm like, I got to watch this again. There's so much out there that we can pick up and realize as we're starting to see some of these truths that are coming out in the documentaries, and we all have to discern what's true or not, right? But when we start to see what's available to us, that's how we're going to project the energy, that we don't accept anything less.
Yeah.
So
and that's and realizing, I think I actually want to just go back to the discernment, because because we're talking about manipulation, it comes down to the actually really trusting yourself. Well, we've talked about 100 million times, right? And it's that as
she's not manipulating you. That wasn't an exaggeration. Huh? I said she's not manipulating you. 100 million is not an exaggeration.
Well, it is, but
I'm kidding.
It's not a manipulation. It's just, emphasizing that it's something that is like a constant. We're talking about
constantly.
When we trust ourselves, then we can actually discern truth from fiction, truth from manipulation. What are you trying to get at? Are you, what are you trying to get me to do? Or
is this in my best interest?
Is this my best interest? Is this best for my highest self? Like, when you actually are checking in with yourself, you'll see the manipulation. And that's our best defense against it, is actually really doing the inner work to learn to trust
and to align yourself.
And align yourself exactly with who you are, what you are, and know you can see the BS coming a mile away and the manipulation coming a mile away when you really are in that space. And we are vacillating, and I know I'm sure every single one of us is like, when something hits you, and somebody says something and you're going, what? It doesn't feel right.
And sometimes you don't even have to say what, you just know.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And sometimes for some people, it may not be immediate, but
right.
I think it's always a good thing if something is like, something isn't ringing true and it makes me feel weird. All right. Then it's a chance to go, okay, were they speaking truth, or was this a manipulation, and why? And sometimes there's a quiet space of going, okay, is this me? Is it me? Because you know what? Somebody could be telling you something that is true about you. Who knows? Right? But let's take a look, and is it a way of manipulating your emotions and who you are and how you're going to behave in the future?
It's interesting. It's interesting, the information that's coming out and people's opinions that are coming out, because information and opinions are not necessarily the same thing. But sometimes an opinion can be so obtuse or offside that you realize that even though they're allowed their opinion, that is where the manipulation lies. And I can think of somebody who said something recently about these buildings in Florida were just bad weather and sea salt coming in on the rebar and rusting it out. And it's okay to acknowledge that somebody just lost their credibility. They're going to have to do some hoops for me to get me back online to even thinking. This person was never, I was never 100% online with them in the first place. I'm not even going to say who it is. It doesn't matter. But now that they've said that, I'm like, huh? Because anybody who watched that realized as they dropped that building, that was a controlled demolition.
Absolutely. You can tell when it falls. Buildings don't just fall without help. Yeah. And if it was salt and erosion, it wouldn't fall completely. You would have chunks falling off at the weak spots, and they would have to be repaired. It wouldn't just fall down. Right. Like just a little common sense.
So anybody who's saying that, oh, it was the weather, and it's like, really? Now you're going to have to prove to me that you are honorable and telling the truth. And don't get me wrong, they don't have to prove anything to me, but I don't have to listen to them either. So then that's me walking away with my discernment and in my power going, I'm not sure about that. And I don't owe anybody an explanation when I'm not sure on it. But what I'm finding too with the manipulation, I'm finding a lot of people who are standing up and challenging what's even being said in the truth movement, they're getting shamed. Sandy, don't you know this? And I'm like, holy shite, I just shared an opinion. Like I'm questioning, like Chris Sky, they're picking on Chris Sky. They're doing a number on Chris Sky. They're using him to get people to come to these rallies. And now there's a few politicians that are trying to take them over. So they do the bait and switch. They get Chris Sky, they put his name all over the flyer, invite him to the rally, last minute change it and say, you're not on the speaker list, but everybody's going thinking he is. That's a manipulation. And then you're implying I'm stupid. If you think I'm going to fall for this, that's the other thing, right? And it's just kind of interesting. So I was sticking up for Chris Sky. It doesn't matter if you like Chris Sky or not. You look at the behavior, not the person. And I'm not saying like him or don't. I'm not making a judgment either way, right? But people are finding fault with him, and it's like it doesn't matter if you like him or not. He's not wrong by sticking up for himself.
Yeah.
Right. So these other two are lying, and they're politicians trying to get in. To be able to bring all the audience in and elevate their platform. And it's like, but you don't get it. Neither one of you have a great reputation. And it's like, I'll use my own discernment. And by the time we bring the next layers of politicians in, this shit show is going to happen. They're too slow. That's the problem with the 3D world. It's too slow. This is happening on a faster level. And it's all going to start coming through on a faster level, right? We're going to see results. We're going to see, I don't want to say attacks, but we're going to see action and then counteraction and back and forth until we start seeing exactly how far they're willing to go to hurt us.
Yeah. And Jack is saying, yes, there are people in the truth community becoming sheep to the truthers. They cannot stand dissenting opinion for some reason. And you're absolutely right. And I actually think we need to question the information. It doesn't matter who is coming from.
Yes. Even, so we're not going to use names, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Even I would even question DJT. Like, okay, well, why? And I in my own head anyway, because I have no way to reach him going, even on the whole poo poo and those comments. I'm not 100% bought into anyone.
Exactly. I agree with that. But there's reasons. There's people who can articulate why he's doing that. So I know. Experimental, and we have to wait and see.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I'm going to throw him under the bus either.
No, totally.
And I understand that there might be some reason why he has to do that.
Right. But we don't worship him. He's a man. He's a human
No.
being. We don't worship him. We worship ourselves, our higher selves, our connection to source. We absolutely admire him, or maybe you don't. It doesn't matter where you're at with it, right? But it's your choice.
Absolutely. And I think that's where we need to, because what was he saying? That yes, there are people becoming sheep to the truthers. Absolutely. And that's what I wanted to address, because unfortunately, we have been programmed from a very early age to follow somebody, right? We don't trust. That goes back to that whole trusting ourselves to know the truth from it inside. Like, I think it was Charlie Freak. I'm not sure. It was so long ago, where they were talking about the Akashic records, which is the records of everything that is. It's in you. It is within you, when we can actually tap in. It's in your DNA. You hold, your body holds the truth. And that's why you have to check in. Is somebody else's truth feeling, is it in alignment with your truth? Right?
Yes.
Not what you have to be careful too, because
I know
if people are selling hopium and giving you all this stuff, then you have to be sure that you're not just buying into this happy, or this is what I want narrative too.
Right. This is what I want to be true.
There's a balancing. It's again that balancing.
Yes.
Of energies, and knowing that, guess what? I know for a fact that the shit's going to hit the fan. And, like we said at the beginning, I mean, it's written also in the Bible, Donald Trump, and it's going to like hit. And I don't think it's going to take long, but yeah, we're going to actually feel a little too. That's why the grounding, I think, has become so important.
So what's going to come first, the chicken or the egg? And the example of this is going to be, in my opinion, this is just how I categorize it. Humans, we're the nervous system of the planet, because we are so energetic. Our spirit, the reason we are put in a body, our souls and our spirits are put in a body, is so we can be the light, create the light. So as we elevate our frequency, we're going to help Mother Earth, Gaia, elevate hers. If she elevates, what's going to come first? Her shaking or us waking up? And it doesn't matter how it goes, or it's back and forth, but we're going to also contribute to the earth energies waking up, in my opinion, just from what I see. And I still have people telling me they're losing their balance and they can't find things, and then they turn around and it's there. So these things are still happening, right? But it doesn't matter, the idea. And what I like about what you said about not following other people, I don't follow anything, because we're in the middle of a transition. So if I say, oh, this is my truth right now, well, then I don't allow myself to change my opinion going forward. So I don't know exactly what's going on. I know to trust me. I know how to trust me. I know my vertical channel is what's important. I know how to call in my soul. If my soul sometimes travels, part of my soul is missing always, because it always is out seeking adventure. But it's only a small portion. But these are the kind of things that we have to know how to do, right? Align to ourselves. And then, okay, sorry guys, but it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. We can change her mind, but you guys, if you guys do it, it's not quite as easy, right? But so we can say, well, yeah, I'm not sure about that. This new piece of information has made me think differently. But what the point is that you don't have to pick a side. You don't have to believe in anything. You can just say, yeah, I saw that. Interesting. I really like what that person had to say. I haven't decided what I think about it. I'm just putting it in the memory bank right now. And if I need it, I'll draw on it later, right? And then that way you don't have to back yourself out.
Yeah. And I think, to that point, I mean, I actually wouldn't say I follow. I am subscribed to many people. Excuse me, my throat.
So do I.
I'm subscribed to many people, but I don't watch everything they put out.
No.
I pick and choose if it's an interesting topic, what I feel led to. And not just on YouTube, on BitChute, and I have a Rumble account as well, because all my videos are all on those three. So I go to those three and see who else is there. And hey, don't watch TV, so I need something. And I like learning, but you have to be also. It's like I look at what's going on, and you can actually feel like, no, this is a good one. This is a good one.
And you know what? You get information from all of them. It doesn't matter. I've got information from people that I'm like, I'm not sure what I think of that person. Who cares? It's my opinion. It doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, but they'll say things and I'm like, oh yeah, that one really lands well with me. And that's where the points, like using our consciousness to move the weather patterns out. Why not? What else are we going to do when the storm hits, right? But try to, I did a blog one time for a magazine. My contract was 6 months, 6 blogs, and they posted 5 of them. They printed 5 of them. But the one they wouldn't was when I said, send love to the White House. She would not, we know who was in then, right? There was no way. I thought it was a really good blog, right? I wouldn't do it now with, who in there. So maybe I'm just as hypocritical as she is, but it's not the point, right? My point was send our energy, our consciousness to where we want it to go. And let's see if that can help bring on our abilities, because practice makes perfect in this.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe this is the perfect time to send love there. To shake things up.
But send love to the energy.
The people that are there that don't want love, believe me, it'll throw them off their rocker. And the people who do, it will strengthen them. Yes. Because not everybody is bad there. And we've been told that many, many times. So I would actually say it doesn't matter who's there, but let's send it to them, because those who need it will get it. And those who don't want it, it will rattle them.
Maybe I'll go and see if I can dig it up and post it.
And it's not with the intention to rattle, but it's actually to bring peace and to give those light workers who are there the strength to continue this battle going on. I mean, even our parliament here in Canada, there's got to be at least 1 or 2 that are good, right? I
know.
And that's a change. That actually is a recent change of like, no, I'm not going to bother. Why waste my energy? But it's like, that's not a waste of energy. It's actually empowering the people who are in place that can make a difference in those positions. But when you send love to somebody who's filled with hate and possibly demons, it will freak them out.
Know what you're doing and make sure they don't
adverse event.
Make sure you know what you're doing and don't let them chase you out. Don't know how to scramble your energy so they can't find you. So if you're going to do things like that, try to be as use your etiquette, your own energy discernment, and know when you can go into these places and when you can't. I know people who said they've gone in under the Vatican, come out and gone to a friend of mine and said, clean out the demons. They followed me. She cleaned them out the first time. Second time, she said, this is it. You do that again, don't come to me. You know what? So if you're there, they know you're there.
Yep.
So we just have to be discerning in how we do that, right?
Yeah, we absolutely have to be careful always. And but I do think that we're, what was that card? Conclusions are within reach. And I think that, and the importance, I think, of this discussion is when we realize the manipulation, and we're getting it from all sides, right? If we can keep our energy up, because it's all up to us to some degree, right? And I agree with you, the earth energy, and I don't know which one is bolstering which one. So did Mother Gaia start to awaken and raised her vibration, or was it us awakening that made hers come up?
And I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It matters that it's actually happening, and that we continue to actually almost feed each other.
Totally.
So sending each other the energy to keep us where we need to be, and then to become our best selves and trust ourselves, and not to be sheep following even the truthers. Because guess what? They're all just people just like you and me. And
so send your loving energy to Mother Earth. Thank you for giving me a home, a beautiful home where I can grow and I can breathe and I can thrive and I can enjoy and I can create. Thank you for all the beautiful water you give us, the beautiful, fresh, cool water. Thank you for the air I breathe that you create with your plants. Thank you for the shade. Thank you for allowing me to absorb the sunshine in your beautiful orchards. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, we can express gratitude to Mother Earth as well and send our love there. And like I said, if you're on the roof, don't get off, as you said.
Don't get off. But she gives us everything we need to sustain life.
Totally. And we're unthankful.
Yes, and then we go to the grocery store and buy all their processed crap that they took from her and basically raped it and then stuck on the shelf for us to consume. Right.
So we understand that, right?
And so we're going to see a big change, and that's part of the whole next phase of this. And I don't know if you saw Mike Lindell. He was driving somewhere and he said, we're in the last third of the movie. I don't know if you caught that. We're in the last third. We're in the last act, guys.
Yeah, we're landing the plane, right? We're coming in for the final landing.
I think so. We might be circling right now, but we've definitely descended and we're looking for a clear runway.
And when we're clearing out the energy, the way we're talking and raising our consciousness and holding the vibration, I know, Betty, we've talked about this, about being the lighthouse. The storm's coming. We don't pick up our skirts and run inland as the lighthouses. We stand where we are and let the storm come and just say enough. So we can still be a bit of a buffer for them. I'm going to go back to this movie. What they're saying with these movies, what they did in the lighthouse, they had a crank and they used mercury. So they could create lights and electricity with the use of mercury back in the 1800s. They said some of these lighthouses still work that way. We can, put it out there that we want the good energies to come in, the Tesla energy, the truth to come in, and be able to do that and still be able to take the edge off of whoever has to do what. We're not, I don't know if we're ever going to know, but we can help out in another area. In battle, there's not just one area. It's not just the frontline people going into battle. You're going to have your food kitchens. You're going to have your sleeping quarters. You're going to have people to organize that. You're going to have people organize the hospitals, whatever. Everybody's got a role to do, but they don't have to be the same role.
No. I mean, that's why we're also diverse. We all have our own roles, because if everybody was doing the same thing, what's the purpose? Right?
Right.
We
totally.
all have our job. And I'm going to go back to what you said. And I know I said, I think on our last show, I loved it when I think when you were on Nicholas and you said, when working in hospitality in the hotel, if the general manager was gone for a month, everything survived and you could go along ticky boom. You lose your dishwasher, you lose your maids. Well, guess what? You're screwed. Right.
Totally.
And so every job, and funny because it's an inversion of what's the most important thing to keep us going. It's an inversion. Right.
And all of them are important, but we're just making the comment that we get the impression that it's the people at the top that matter, and it's not. It's all of us.
Yeah, we can't function without those people. Every single layer is important.
Yes.
And I think the inversion is we've said that the people on top were the most important, yet we can function without them completely, but we can't function with the people closer to the actual doing of the job.
Right. That's exactly what I think too.
Yeah. And then we put the importance on who do you worship? You talk about your boss or the CEO of the company or the president of the company, but what are they contributing to the bottom line?
And are you worshiping or are you ass kissing? Because there's a difference.
Yeah. Coming from corporate bulimia, you see a lot of ass kissing and a lot of yes sirs, yes ma'ams.
I'm very fortunate I didn't have a lot of that. And that's, I don't know if I could function in that environment, right? But we have to start looking at what we want from the world, what we want from people, what we want from the next people. But I'm not going to call them the leaders, but the people, let's call them the stewards, the people who are going to stand up and take a position for the next, whatever term it is. What do we want from them? What do we want for them? What do we offer them in support? What are we going to offer them to call them on their bullshit? So I just heard recently that Wells Fargo in the United States has canceled all lines of credit. So there's a lot of rumors that Wells Fargo is also part of what's going to happen with the GESARA and the NESARA and the transition of the banking system, the financial system. I don't know. I'm not going to go into any terms on the financial system. Do I believe it's changing? Yes. Do I believe it has to change? Definitely. Do I believe it's so corrupt? If we can't end the corruption, we can end half of the motivation for the darkness. So there's a lot of people talking about JP Morgan was also associated with Bernie Madoff. So there's all kinds of things starting to come out that are people are starting to see just how these deceptions were working, and we have to see this. And I also heard the stock exchange in China. There was a professor talking about the stock exchange and saying that they own Wall Street and they've got people in high places. So now it's been a dubbed conversation, but the people in the audience were wearing masks. So I do believe it's of a recent timely, right? So I think we're going to start seeing more of this happening, and we're going to see the reasons why these systems have to fall. We see the medical system, supposedly they're getting hush money, $1,200 a month to keep their mouth shut, who are working in the hospitals where COVID is supposedly an issue. We're seeing supervisors, we're being told, who are getting paid great bonuses. So we have to see all of these. We have to see the darkness, the depth of the darkness. Yeah. Not maybe everything, but we have to see just how it works so we don't recreate it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I don't, I mean, I have my crystal ball is on the fritz. I can't see what's around the corner, but I can feel it. I can feel something. So, I think the most important thing is let's stay grounded and trust ourselves, right?
Trust
Because
ourselves,
it's
respect ourselves, set your standards higher, quit accepting other people's crap as acceptable, raise our standards right across the board. What we want in healthcare, what we want in what you call institutions, if we still are going to need a certain amount of that, what we want in air quality, what we want to, how we want to treat our planet, what we will tolerate for people trying to poison the water systems. Deborah Davaris just came out and was talking about what they're doing with the water system and trying to shut it all down. Basically, she's saying they're recycling toilet water, giving it to us as drinking water. And some of us already know that. The pharmaceuticals that are in the water system are also affecting the birds, the wildlife. They're affecting the fish with all the pseudoestrogens. Now that all the fish are becoming female, like we have the right to stop this. She said there's primary water under every aspect of the world, and I believe that. I believe under us, where I live, we have artesian wells, a lot of artesian wells underneath us, very hard water, but it's good water. Yeah. But then they put it in the reservoir, and the power plant here, they have a little hose, not a hose, I don't know if it's a hose, it's a pipe or whatever, but you see the water coming out into the river. So now whatever they're passing out of that water, what do they have to pass out to the water that needs to go into the river that can't be put into some sort of a waste spot? Because if it's good water, they sure as hell wouldn't be dumping it. Let's start holding the people who work in these water plants accountable.
Actually, I hate to say it, but if it is good water, they probably would be dumping it. And, you know, I mean, because they put cell towers on top of water towers, right? So you've got that radiation going right into your water.
And I'm wondering if those water towers were not part of the Tesla energy. Because if you look at some of the Tesla coils, you know, like I wonder if that was because that would have been the highest marker in the land at some point. So I'm starting to wonder just how much did they have figured out in the 1800s? Because you look at those little towers now and you think there's no way that could hold enough water for a town.
Yeah.
Or city, right? But you just see, so there's lots of questions, and stay inquisitive, right? Because we're going to be asking more and more of these questions. And as we ask them, the answers will come up. Even if we don't have an answer, that's an answer, because you realize that there's just something more needs to be asked and uncovered.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's it. Trust ourselves, set high standards, respect ourselves, know we deserve better. I love that your list that you've talked about on a few different occasions, Betty. Know we deserve better than the shit show, the lies, the manipulation. Like, did they get off on thinking we're stupid? We're not. We were just nice.
And nice doesn't cut it anymore. You got to be true to yourself. I mean, don't go out and be a total asshole, but that's not the point. But don't let people stomp all over you either.
Totally.
That's that whole nice thing. Stand up, have boundaries. Don't stomp on other people either. Mm-hmm. So it's being respectful. It's that do unto others as you'd want done unto yourself, right?
Be in right action and feel your feelings. So if you're feeling upset, so who cares if you're down for 2 hours and it takes you a couple hours to process or go for a walk or whatever you need to do? Doesn't matter, right? Just
Absolutely.
go ahead and do it, and just and know you can get through this. Like I said, if I can go and I'm tapping and as I'm walking, and within 10 minutes I'm like, oh man, persecution trauma. Oh, here we go. I've been through this before. Okay, so it came up again. But if our spirit's in our DNA, which is in different dimensions, we're going to have emotions on different dimensions that we're not aware of the dimension, but it doesn't mean the emotion isn't going to surface in our body too.
Yeah,
that's not too out there, but
and yeah, the same thing can come up many times because you're taking it from different instances, different lives. Is it this life or different times in this life? Is it ancestral? Like, has it come through like your DNA?
Totally.
And like you said, you could even be future life.
Totally.
Like
you could have implanted yourself, because I don't remove all implants. Maybe you've implanted yourself in a previous life for something to be activated in this life. So the problem is because we don't know the whole template. We don't know the blueprint. Mm-hmm. We don't know we have to really discern for ourselves. Is this okay? Is it not okay? Do I need to leave it for a while? And right now we're being targeted by AI. Who was it telling me that they were watching TV? They went in and all of a sudden they started getting anxious. It's a person who does not normally watch TV, but they had a family night and she was watching it. And she said all of a sudden she started getting anxiety because they manipulate the frequencies that they're sending through the AI as well. So there could be all kinds of reasons why we're off center.
Oh yeah. It's nuts. But I think the most important thing I think for the next few weeks, it's a new moon today. So this is creative energy, right? And I think if I can give homework, and I'm doing this myself, and let's really think about what we want.
Totally.
This is the creative energy. What do we want our future to look like? Picture the best thing possible. And not just for you, for the collective. We have to start looking at the collective, because when it's all me, 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 that is very negative. We have to, if we are looking out for your community, everyone does well, including yourself, right?
What's the best for all parties?
Yeah. And so let's look at how can we make this world, our country, our city, our town, our street, whatever, a better place. What do we want from it? What do we want from our education systems? Do we need an education system? What about our healthcare, our food, our water? What do we want? How do we want to feel? And this is the most important, because feelings actually are what activate the change. How are you going to feel in this? And then focus on how, when everything is gone, all of this manipulation, all of this deception is gone,
and we
see through it, and we can see through the other side, this amazing future. How do you feel? Harness that. That is the power that actually manifests. It's not the writing it down. It's not the thinking about it. It's the feeling about it.
Writing it down helps because it gets you started as part of the process, but definitely the feeling. If you are privy, if you have crystals, create a crystal grid for what you want to bring in. Magnify the power. If you have a birthday today, yesterday, today, tomorrow, or even on Sunday, know that you can harness in this energy, because the new moon is when you plant the seed. The full moon is when you harvest. So it's we kind of got led back. That was a little backward, right? So plant the seeds. That's exactly what you're saying, Betty. What do you want to see in the world? What do you want to be in the world? What do you want to experience in the world? Are we going to get new time travel? I have a feeling we are. I just have a feeling a lot of things are going to change. I'm of the opinion they've already got new education curriculums coming in, but we haven't seen them. Who knows if that's true or not? But know that we want the free energy. And what was the name of that movie? Do you remember? Was it something about the lost world?
Oh, you know what? I know that JCK had actually put that up on her channel. And
okay, I know Nicholas had it on his, and he had interviewed a few guys who were talking about it.
On her YouTube channel, that's where I saw it. And it's 5 hours. So actually, a friend of mine in New Zealand actually sent it to me again. But it's an easy to find if you have on JCK's channel. As she posted, I think last week or the week before. So just take a peek at her videos.
History,
5 hours, 9 minutes.
Yeah, but it's worth it to see.
She suggested changing the speed to 1.5, and because 5 hours. I mean, that's the only reason I haven't watched it all yet.
You can keep up with it, right? If you can keep up with it. But what it's showing you is the all energy is electromagnetic, which is male and female.
It's called Lost History of Earth. Jack just posted it there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. But so all energy is electromagnetic. It's male and female. This gets rid of the LBGT, elemental P, that there's 6 genders. Like, it's just, all this is just to use people.
Like 100 something now.
There's 6 genders and 100 sexual identities.
Oh.
You know what? So I posted something today. There's a teacher, I don't know where, and he's trying to tell his grade 8 students that they should get the job. And I'm like, should these teachers be held criminally liable, accountable, because they're practicing medicine? Basically, you're practicing medicine. Yeah. So we need to start setting the standards for the average everyday Joe who does these jobs, Joe or Jill who do these jobs, who also are contributing to the chaos, because that's somebody's life you're messing with. And you have to know what you're doing. And I'm not saying, I don't give advice one way or the other. And I'm to be honest, Ontario recently has just come out of the state of emergency on June 9th, but it's not being advertised. And I mentioned it to somebody in a store yesterday. And she goes, oh no, that's just about the CERB and giving the small businesses money. That doesn't, I go, you don't have to wear a mask. She goes, yeah, I'm pretty sure we still do. And I thought, you couldn't catch your head in the car door hard enough to get your head back on straight after talking to somebody like that. You realize she's getting off on the drama of wearing the mask. And I'm like, I paid by cash, and she gets her little blue rubber gloves out. And I'm like, anyways, so we're not, I'm not here to save everybody, and I'm not trying to. I don't get to tell them what to do. I just said that.
Okay, can I just tell a funny story too? I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and their significant other had an accident and had to go to the walk-in clinic. And they went in with their amount, because you can't go in without your face diaper on. And they wanted him to change it, and they were going to give him a fresh one. And he's like, no, I have one. Thank you very much. 'Cause you don't know what's on these things, right? And they're like, no, you have to. And he's like, why? Because, well, you were out in the community, and now that you're in here, you need a clean one. He's like, my clothes are from the community. You want me to get naked?
Honest to God, we've gone to Stupidville.
It's like, but it's like, okay, that was brilliant, right? It's not just this that was there. All of me.
Totally.
You're going to make me go through some sort of bath because my hair, my skin, everything has been out.
You know what? Next, they'll be spraying you at the door, right? But it's like we've gone to Stupidville. Do you know what the postal code is of Stupidville?
No.
Duh. But it's like we're in Stupidville. It's like there's no talking. You just want to walk around and like Charlie Babbitt, Charlie Babbitt, Charlie Babbitt, right? And just put a tinfoil hat on and just go be by yourself.
Just the stupidity is just, it's like off the charts. It's off
the doubling down on it.
It's total. I mean, it just shows you. And I'm gonna, Lori, thank you so much, because it is total mind fuckery. And you can see the people who got fucked.
Totally.
And it's like, really? And I mean, I didn't hear what happened after that. I think he got to keep his mask on, but the one they came in with, the one that was out in the community, Christ,
I think it's to the point now that they're making it so obvious. Like we're not going to not ridicule those people who don't wake up when the time comes. Like CNN just came out. I can't remember what their post was all about. Oh, that you have to get a mandatory jab. They're going to come door to door. And I'm like, it's CNN. They're gaslighting you. Like, surely to God, you know this by now. Mainstream is gaslighting you. But it's like some people just want to go down the path of just going. The crazier it gets, it's almost like the higher they get on life.
Yeah. And well, they want to frighten you. They want to frighten you. And I know it was actually in the press briefing that they have chosen 5 communities to actually go door to door to educate on.
In where? In
the United States, yeah. Hey, they've been threatening it here too in Canada. They have been threatening it here for months and months. So, I mean, I don't put it past them to try it.
I'm not putting it out there, but and you know what? All we can do is stay as alert as we can. And what else can we do, right?
Yeah, you put a no solicitation sticker on your front door, and
yeah, and no trespassing.
Buzz off. Yeah,
no, it's crazy. But you know what? At the same time, we've got. I'm gonna say we've got the summer, but if more people can get out and enjoy themselves this summer, they're not going to take the lockdown. They're not going to take it because more and more people, I think, aren't believing in it. But the ones who really do are doubling down.
Yeah. Well, I think both sides are doubling down. I think we are awake and aware have had enough.
Yes.
And those who are still in the fog want to stay there. They like that. There's actually a little power trip that goes on in that, you know, and that virtue. I look how good I am. I did everything I was told.
Oh, right? Yeah.
You're bad. There's lots of shaming, lots of like superiority for a lot of people who didn't feel superior before.
Yeah.
Why would you let that go? Why would you let it go when you finally feel a little power? In a powerless life, you feel like you actually took some power. Why would you give it up?
You know, this could be considered a really good breeding program too. You know who not to choose is your in-laws. I'm just saying.
You know what? Look, it's even within our own families, right? I think everybody has at least one person in their family who's totally bought in. I was just talking.
I just meant like mother-in-law, father-in-law kind of thing. Right? But no, I hear you on that.
Yeah, it's a strange time. And again, that's biblical. Jesus said, when the end comes, there'll be families will turn against each other. There'll be 2 against 1, 3 against 2, whatever. And yeah, this is the great divide. This is the great divide. I've said it, like I said on Nicholas's show. It's actually, you can see it happening. And it's
deeper now.
Yeah, you can really see it. It's like that story that I told on Nick's show with the wheat and the tares. Well, you wanted them to grow together, and then you would separate it because you didn't want to disturb the roots of the good crop. So you let them grow, and then during harvest, you pull the wheat into the barn and you burn the rest. So you could actually see without damaging.
Yes.
Right. Everybody gets to make the choice. I always feel bad because I think so many people have been gaslit. And I don't think when you've been this manipulated and brainwashed, you get to make, a lot of these people don't have free will.
They're making choices because, well, this game is still being played. They are still harvesting little ones from what I'm being shown in different threads that I'm watching. They realize the problems that have happened, but nobody's been held accountable. So this game is still getting played. While people choose to be ignorant, people's lives are getting destroyed, or they're being taken out for nefarious reasons. Like they didn't do anything wrong, but they're being abused. So while people have the privilege to sit there and just say, oh, I'm above all this, or I don't believe any of this, somebody's getting hurt. So these people, I'm not saying hold them accountable, but I'm not waiting for them to wake up anymore. If the difference is stopping the abuse, or they're going to have their world shattered and they got to go on antidepressants for 3 months until they get sorted out, I already know which one I support, right?
Absolutely. And this is the great divide. So you're either going to keep your head in the sand and be an ostrich, or you're going to pull it out and actually start to deal with the truth.
Yeah.
And that's the big, and I think that there will be a real people. I think people are going to get a couple more opportunities to actually say, oh, and then choose. But we will have people who will never get their head out of the sand and don't want to see it. It will be a total la 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 la.
Yeah, I hear you. So
Yeah.
that's the idea, though, is to think positive. So we know the negative, but think positive about what you want to see, what you want to achieve. And I know we kind of say that almost every time now, but this is where we really, if you've got nothing to do, go into what do you want this world to look like? Go into the positive. If you're thinking negative thoughts, go into the positive thoughts, or reaffirm yourself. I love me now. Bring yourself back into the present. That is where we manifest from and create from. I'm happy now. I'm so excited now. I'm excited for the changes that are coming now.
Yes.
And really bring your energy back to the present.
And I think that doing that, and like I said before, is that should be our focus going forward. The energy is high. We're in a new moon. It is a creative time. Let's create it. It means we can actually accelerate this timeline. Yes. So much. I mean, I've heard, and I believe this actually, we have slowed down the timeline because we're not manifesting. We were kind of stuck in the rut of, and that's part of the reason I don't watch all these truthers, because there's a lot of negative and you can get stuck in that negative space instead of projecting the bright future that you want. You need to be aware, but you don't need to wallow in it. I don't give it much time, and it's not that I have anything against them. There's no judgment. This is what works for me, so I can actually continue to create the beautiful earth I want, the life I want, for not just for me, but for everyone around me
who wants it. Yes, totally. Yeah. And I agree with that totally, right? And once you know, you don't need to go back and keep watching. You might want to see what's happening on timelines and see different comments that are made. I know there's a lawsuit happening against the big tech companies down in the United States, and it's going to be a class action suit. So it's going to be interesting. And even if the Supreme Court turns around and does another whatever and lies again and manipulates and said there's no problem with this, then we're that much closer to finding out what path to take. And I know Mr. T came out and said that now that he's no longer considered officially the president, that he can't go back to any of those deals he's made in the Middle East. He can't go back to Israel. He can't go back to the trade agreements that he's made. So we know so maybe that had to happen so something new can come in. So just because it seems like it's bad news doesn't mean it is.
No, it doesn't. And you know what? We do have a bright future, and that's what we need to focus on. Totally. Especially, I think, in this energy. And I honestly feel better now at the end of this conversation than I did when we first came in, because it was like energies were wild. Things have been a little crazy. I have no water. It's like noisy outside and all kinds of stuff going on. So I was not feeling like completely centered. And you saw when I came in, I was in prayer actually, and just like trying to bring it in and creating the protection around everything. But
everybody brings energy together here, though. Like people in comments, everybody, we're bringing each other up.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I said I love this group. I know it's almost always the same people, maybe a couple new ones. And I know Patty, Noletta, Amber, Brenda, SRS 4859.
Yes,
They've all joined later, and so hello and thank you.
Yes.
I think it's a timely conversation. You know what I love, and Patty and I were talking about this the other day. It's like you can go back and watch anything. It's the beauty of it is it's not. This is all about creating the better you version, personal power. So
Totally.
it's not time on like what's going on in the world. This is about where you are in your journey. So which one do you need to visit?
And you'll know because all of these topics are relative and they all weave in to create the best version of ourselves. So it's perfect. It's going to be timely for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. And I'm really just thankful for all of you guys and our fabulous Friday.
Yes. So on that note, this could be probably a good time. It's 12:12, so that's a good time that maybe we invite everybody. And thank you very much. Yes. I'm quite excited about what we are holding for the future and just everybody's personal growth, and just know how much you're appreciated and loved, all of us.
Yes, I'm going to give you guys all a big hug. Oh, hug yourselves and know it's coming from me. And I love it because we've got people all over the place, right? Yes. And so arms stretch really wide and far. It makes me think of those, remember those cartoons where the arms gets like stretch, like for miles and miles? That's me right now. To you too,
Sandy. Thank you, everyone. Yes, you too. So I hope to see you soon.
Next Friday.
There you go.
Same time, same channel.
Take care,
everyone. Have a great weekend.
Yes.